For today's lesson, we're going to discuss the tenses of verb, which is past and past perfect tenses. But before we proceed to our lesson proper, let's start our day with an opening prayer. Okay, so once again, good morning class. So before we start our discussion, tell your classmates it's nice to see you today. And before we formally start our discussion, kindly turn on your camera so I can see your faces. Okay, thank you. So before we start our topic for today, I will add some few reminders. First is turn off your mic if you are not answering. And second is turn on your mic if you are being asked. And lastly, please engage in our class discussion. For our attendance today, Ms. Monadress, do we have any absent for today? Okay, thank you. It's good that everyone is present today. Okay, so last meeting I have given you an assignment wherein I asked you to describe in a short paragraph containing of at least 100 words the source of inspiration in life. So class, did you all submit your Google Classroom assignment on time? Okay, that's good. Thank you. As what I have said earlier, our topic for today is past and past perfect tenses. So for our learning objectives, the first one is the students must be able to use the past and past perfect tense correctly in sentences. Number two, identify the forms of verb in past and past perfect tense. And number three, supply the correct verb form of the past and past perfect tenses. Alright, so in order to nurture more our knowledge for today's topic, we're going to have our motivational activity. Are you ready, class? So for our motivational activity, you are going to supply the proper past or past perfect tenses in the given situation or in the given sentences. So for number one, the president blanked our country under the state of calamity. The given word is declare. What is the answer? Okay, so at the end, we are going to identify if your answers were correct. So number two, yesterday my friends and I blanked the park and blanked some fun. So the given verbs are go and have. So what is the answer, class? Okay, thank you. So number three, our team blanked the beautiful view of Baguio City. So the given verb here is enjoy. Okay, so number four, after days of preparation, we finally finished the project we blanked. And the given verb is make. The answer is okay. So number five, due to the new normal educational system, many of our colleagues blanked webinars for the enhancement of online and modular classes. So the given verb here is attend. Answer is okay. And for the last item, writing poems blank my skill in writing literary pieces. Yes, the verb here is enhance. The answer is okay. So now we're going to find out if your answers are correct. So for number one, the president declared our country under the state of calamity. So the answer is declared. Number two, yesterday my friends and I went to the park and had some fun. So the answers are went and had. For number three, our team enjoyed the beautiful view of Baguio City. So the answer is enjoy. For number four, after days of preparation, we finally finished the project we had made. So the answer is had made. Number five, due to the new normal educational system, many of our colleagues had attended webinars for the enhancement of online and modular classes. So the answer is had attended. And for our last item, writing poems enhanced my skill in writing literary pieces. So the answer is enhanced. Okay, thank you for your cooperation, class.
At this point, we are now going to discuss what is past and past perfect tenses. So now let us identify first what is past tense. So past tense is used to talk about actions that happened at a specific time in the past. This can be in terms of events in the past that are now finished, situation in the past, or a series of action in the past. So past tense basically is a form by adding "d" or "ed" to the base form of the verb. So for regular verbs, add "ed" to the root form of the verb, or just add "d" if the root form already ends in an "e." So as you can see in the examples at your computer screen, um, which is play, picking plate, type, to type, listen, to listen, push, and pushed, to love, and love. As you can see, this is um this is the right way on how to add the D or ED in a word. For irregular verbs, things get more complicated. The simple past tense of some irregular verb looks exactly like the root form. For example, put, put, cut, to cut. While some irregular verbs, including the verb to be, the simple past forms are more erratic. For example, see, saw, build, built, go, went, do, did, rise, rose, and am, is, or, to, was, to, were. The good news is that verbs in the simple past tense, except for the verb to be, don't need to agree in number with their subject. For example, Wolfgang polished his medal. The other winners polished their medals too. Now let us move on to our next topic, which is the past perfect tense. So in the past perfect tense, it is a form by using the word had plus past participle of the verb. It expresses the existed or occurred before another activity in the past. For example, we had finished dinner when James called. So the had and the participle of the verb is had finished. So for example, subject plus had plus past participle equals past perfect tense. So we can say that a sentence is a past perfect tense if it has a subject, had, and plus past participle. So as you can see in the column A, which is indicated as the simple past, the second column of irregular verbs are the past tense forms. For example, I spoke. Next one is the past perfect simple. Um, it indicates the had plus third column of irregular verbs or the past participle form. For example, I had spoken. We can now see the difference between the simple past and the past perfect simple. So in the simple past, the sentence is I spoke, and from the past perfect simple, I had spoken. So next one is the regular verbs or the infinitive plus ed. For example, in simple past, we use the sentence I worked. While in converting to past perfect simple, it should have a regular verbs form of have plus infinitive plus ed. For example, I had worked. So the simple past tense, sometimes called the preterite, is used to talk about a completed action in a time before now. So take note of that, class. It is used to talk about the completed action before now. So the simple past is the basic form of past tense in English. So the time of the action can be either recent past or the distant past, and action duration is not important. So for example, Mary Grace sailed to America in 1947. Next, his mother died that year. Um, Next would be, you should always use the simple past when you say when something happened. So it is associated with certain past time expression. So for example, in frequency, we have often, sometimes, and always. So I sometimes walk alone at lunchtime. So we have the frequency word sometimes. And an example of a definite point in time is last week. When I was a child, yesterday, 6 weeks ago. So for example, we saw a good film last Saturday. So last Saturday is a definite point in time. So if we have a definite point in time, we also have an indefinite point in time. So the examples of an indefinite point in time is the other day, ages ago, a long time ago. So for example, if we use it in a sentence, people lived in caves a long time ago. So the word long time ago is an example of an indefinite point in time. So let us now back to our past perfect tense. So basically, it is the action happened before something else in the past. So for example, Mario had met Ryan before you introduced him to us at the party. So the past perfect tense here is had met. So for the another example, I had studied Italian before you moved to Rome. So the past perfect tense here is had studied. So to show that an action happened before a specific time in the past, for example, Ian had established his company before 2000. So here we can see the past perfect tense had established. Next, next example would be Joseph and Kate had gotten engaged before last year. So you can see the past perfect tense here in um, example number 2 would be the had gotten engaged. So don't forget that past perfect tense makes it clear that one thing happened before another in the past. So the event does not matter since the tense makes it clear which event happened first. So another use of past perfect tense includes reported speech. For example, the teacher in science asked if we had studied for the exam. So the underlined word here would be had studied. So past perfect tense can also be used to show dissatisfaction with the past. So examples of these use include they wish they had purchased the winning ticket. So probably the underlying word here would be the had purchased since it talks about the dissatisfaction with the past. So past perfect tense can also be used with the word just. When combined, this makes it clear that the event was only a short time prior. So some example of these include the police had just left the scene when the ambulance arrived. So as you can see in the example given, we can see the word just, and clearly this means that the event was only a short time prior. So it can be also um, called as a past perfect tense, which is the police had just left earlier. So again, we just had talked about the past perfect tense. So here in past perfect tense, it is used to talk about a completed action before something in the past. And take note, in order for a sentence to be called as past perfect tense, we have to use the word had plus the past participle of the verb because it expresses that existed or occurred before another activity in the past.
Okay, class, at this point, we are now down to our assessment. So let's see if you really understand the lesson. Kindly access your Google Classroom account and click the link of your task that has been provided. So the first one is complete. So the direction says the students will be given a simple text. In the given text, the students must apply the missing past tense required in order to complete the part of the given text. So you are provided with a sample text here, and you are going to supply the correct form of the verb. Okay, so for your next task, it is entitled Fill Me, which lies under product target. So the direction here says, in order to test the knowledge directly, the students will create 1 to 3 minute video of explaining their learning in the said discussion. So in the video, they must include what is past and what is perfect tense, and its forms along with some examples. So you guys will be graded based on the following criteria. So for your video presentation, here are the following criteria. So the first one is presentation. It is above standard and it is well rehearsed with smooth delivery that holds audience attention. It is meets standard if it is rehearsed with fairly smooth delivery that holds audience attention most of the time. It is approaching standard if the delivery is not smooth but able to maintain interest of the audience most of the time. And lastly, below standard if the delivery is not smooth and audience attention often lost. So for the next criteria, oral presentation. It is above standard if it is interesting, well rehearsed with smooth delivery that holds audience attention. It is meets standard if it is relatively interesting, rehearsed with a fairly smooth delivery that usually holds audience attention. It is approaching standard if it is not so interesting, and the delivery is not smooth but able to hold audience attention most of the time. Lastly, it is below standard if it is not interesting at all. Delivery is not smooth and audience attention lost. So for the next criteria is for the content. So it is above standard if it covers topic in depth with details and examples. Subject knowledge is excellent. It is meets standard if it includes essential knowledge about the topic. Subject knowledge appears to be good. It is approaching standard if it includes essential information about the topic, but there are 1 to 2 factual errors. So it is below standard if the content is minimal or there are several factual errors. And for our last criteria, it says originality. So it is above standard if the video shows a large amount of original thought. Ideas are creative and effective. It is meets standard if the video shows some original thought and the word shows new ideas and insights. Next is approaching standard if it is you use other people's ideas and giving them credit, but there is a little evidence of original thinking. Lastly, it is below standard if you guys uses other people's ideas but does not give. And for your last task, for effective target, you will form or you will create a reflection. So the students will create a reflection paper or journal to assess their learning and their understanding on the discussion about past and past perfect tenses. So the content of their reflection must include what they feel and different actions towards the discussion. And the students must also relate on how the past and past perfect tenses are used in daily lives. And for our assignment, so congratulations, there will be no homework for the next week. So simply enjoy the weekend with your family, friends, and relatives while you eat soup. So that's it. So that's all for our discussion today. Thank you, class, and see you again next